Hello there guys, Elita Legionarii here, bringing you a 3 versus 3 CWB game for a change. It's been a while since she put much CWB out. I'm in command of Dacia, my allies are Alex, he's in command of Thrace, and on the far right is Biscuits of the Heathen Clan, he's in command of Gaul. Our opponents are way out there on the far is Benoit, I think it's Benoit, he is in command of Numidia. In the centre is Shogunsep. I do think he's joined the Heathen Clan since this time. And then we have Polish Legion of the Heathen Clan as well. He's playing as the Seleucids, and Shogunsep is playing as the Senate. Me and Biscuits deliberately chose to use not weaker faction, but disadvantage yourself and use some of the lower power factions like Dacia and Gaul and stuff. So I deployed quite far back and I run into the woods because fighting, especially against Polish Legion, fighting him in the open against the Seleucids, I'd get destroyed, so I have to come to the woods. This guy here, he was a new player. As you can see, none of his troops have upgrades on him. He's a very new player, and we sort of didn't really try communicating with him enough, I think, but I think had we it would have been difficult to work with him, to be honest, because he's just sort of inexperienced. So we actually, and it probably sounds a bit mean, but we decided to just use him as a kind of a meat shield for us. It's not intentional, but it's just sometimes kind of directing new players and playing at the same time is difficult. So Biscuits draws in these Numidian camel riders, and now he's going to encircle them with a bunch of barbarian light cav and get these guys here, and he's going to mix it up. I brought my cavalry along this way to assist him, but I don't think he's going to need it. But these are camels, so he does need to be a wee bit careful, but he does a nice wedge charge, and he's got peasants, this warlord, and he does a great surround, and he's going to kill this Numidian camel riders pretty nicely, so good work there. Actually, I didn't outline my army, did I? I believe I had 5 archer warband. I think it was 4 chosen swordsmen, 1 naked fanatic, 2 falksmen, 2 Scythian mercenaries, and I believe I sent it over this way, and I think it was 2 barbarian noble cavalry. I think that's my army. Biscuits has tons of these. I think it was 5 or 6 of these barbarian light cavalry, and then a barbarian warlord, some peasants as a meat shield, and I'm not actually sure what infantry he brought. I have not seen him yet. So we see the Numidian players got all these Numidian Legionnaires, lots of them. I think he broke CWB actually. By the looks of it, there's more like 10, about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 8 or 9 of them there. But we're not too bothered because they're not that great at the unit. Biscuits has got, let's see, he's got swordsmen, yeah. He's got 5 units of swordsmen and a druid, and I believe they're probably on silver, so he put quite a bit into his light cavalry, which isn't very typical, but he uses it very well anyway. I decide to use my horse archers in a moment to skirmish with Polish Legion, see if I can get him to throw away some of his ammunition, because we will have a bit of a dangerous weakness, particularly against several of my units, to missile fire, so I'm going to try and get him to expend it. So I brought my cav over this way, and we're going to go for an encirclement here. He'll bring in his swordsmen, and we'll bring a cav in and try and chain route this Numidian army together. So at this point, we're just bringing them in. I don't think there's much happening over there. I do believe they start tearing up our ally there, but I don't really want to miss this particular part of the fight. So Biscuits has got his guys behind for the morale penalty here, and I got my guys in the side and on against the general's unit if possible. I do believe I just go around these guys and go to the back for his general. Biscuits sends his guys in, and there's actually no peeler being thrown here, so this indicates our opponent was fairly new here, I think. Biscuits is going to begin the attack, and I decide I'm just going to come around or slice my way in through here, and I believe Biscuits is coming in with his cavalry now. These Numidian Legionnaires should be pretty even between these swordsmen. However, I'd put my money on the Numidian Legionnaires over time, but it should be fairly close. He was actually, there's no upgrades on those Numidian Legionnaires, so that's why they'll be winning, but over time it would go in the favour of the Numidian Legionnaires if there are upgrades. But anyway, as you can see, well, my cav come in, and Biscuits' cav come in, and we rout the entire corps right away because of the low morale and because we use wedge, and we're able to rout them. So we're going to push out here, and we're going to just kind of keep the momentum going. These guys are going to hit on the flank there. He does turn his peeler on here, which isn't really ideal. However, though, because there's so much going on here, these guys rout so quickly because the route's kind of continuous. And there we go. We've got the Numidian player out of the way between the two of us there. At this stage, as you can see, the Thracian player was getting out skirmished. He ran some of his cavalry into these pikes, I think. So a lot of these guys were fairly new, and I have to say most CWB players who just play normal games like this are fairly new players these days on Rome Total War, ever since Rome 2 came out. So for now, I just skirmish him, see if I can get him to throw some of his fire away. I've already killed about 30 archers, and he does put down a lot of fire on these guys and waste them. But at this stage, he's going to charge his cataphracts through, I think. His cataphracts alone could just rout this whole blob, especially when there's urban cohorts from Shogunsep supporting. So here come Polish Legion's cav, and this will most likely just rout them immediately. They are in the woods, they will get a slight bonus, but as you can see, because they've got no upgrades, the Seleucid cavalry just routs them right away. More of it comes in, the Urban's coming in, and all the Thracian players routed. We tried communicating with him sort of, but it didn't sort of go off that well. So me and Biscuits, we knock a player out, but they've knocked our ally out. But there's perhaps a few of their cataphracts and units did get destroyed. Maybe, well, not many, but there's a few perhaps, and it comes in handy. So there goes a Thracian general trampled under the cataphracts. So I'm going to keep falling back. I was a wee bit concerned that they're going to charge at me here. Fortunately they don't, but I have gone into the deeper part of the woods because I get a bonus here, and most of my units remain hidden, so they don't really know exactly where I'm at. Well, they do and they don't. Let's just go to triple. So I'm going to move over here to connect up with Biscuits out on the right, as you can see. So a few of these Thracian units regroup. Yeah, as I was saying though, I found that a lot of people who play the standard kind of CWB games, inexperienced players who have not played much Rome Total War before. I mean, that's fine, but you don't want to be fighting those kind of people all the time, simply because it's not good in that you don't maintain much skill level because you're not fighting challenging enough players, which is basically the reason probably one of the main reasons why I joined the Heathen clan, because I knew at least there I would be constantly playing against other clans and clan members and other players who are very good. So it's not to say that CWB's dead on Rome Total War. It's just every time I go in there, I run into a lot of newer players. You can just tell by the way they build their armies, how they fight, and that kind of thing, that most of them are newer. But at least I know that Polish Legion's not newer, and Shogunsep has clearly been playing for a while. He knew what he was sort of doing, so, and he was accepted into the Heathen clan not that long ago. So these two are at least more experienced than the other two were, basically. So I actually didn't outline their armies. So Polish Legion has, I think he had 4 or 5 cataphracts, and then 4 or 5 Sewishal pikemen, just a bunch of archers, pretty typical. And then the other army is probably urban cohorts and Praetorian cav. And the Thracian army was a bunch of like Bastani, some pikes, peasants, archers, no upgrades or anything though, so it wasn't going to be able to stand up for very long under all this. So Biscuits starts moving up around to the high ground on the right, which is what we both agreed on. We're trying to stay where there's forests though, because both of us need that in this particular circumstance. I believe my horse archer ran out of ammunition, but it did take quite a few of his guys down, and allowed to chew up quite a lot of his ammunition as well, which means we should be able to take an endurance like skirmish duel. I do apologise about the triple speed. I know he's probably not that great, but it's just this battle's quite long, and by triple speeding it, I can get it moving quicker, and I don't really feel like editing it. So we come up to this high ground here, and once we get into a position to start skirmishing, we'll start skirmishing. And fortunately for our ally, did follow us up here. He still, comes in useful in that his troops act as kind of like a buffer and a meat shield, kind of while giving us a little more time to do stuff, give us a wee bit more time to work, and that does come in quite handy. So at this stage, we're just positioning. Feel free to skip ahead just a little bit, guys, if you wish to, because this is quite a long battle. I haven't actually done some of these longer CWB battles in Rome Total War for quite a long time, actually. I've been doing most of my Rome Total War has been 31k as of the moment. So I'm going to bring up my guys here. I believe I got range yet. Yes, but I think my guys are on auto fire at that point, and I do correct that in a moment. So I don't want, I corrected it because I don't want them shooting at these units, these pikes. But he brings his archers up here, and I'm going to start focusing on them when I've got range on, which I think I do, or should do. Should have range. Okay, they might not have range yet. There's still a bunch of Roman archers as well, and then we'll go with like 6 urban cohort. I think we had 6 urban cohorts, and a bunch of Praetorian cavalry. They didn't have any upgrades, but that shouldn't. Against Gaul and Dacia, Rome doesn't really need many upgrades. We are in the woods. That is our advantage, and we have to use it to use that advantage to get ourselves ahead. So I begin skirmishing with the Seleucids. And because I got that edge at the start of the duel with the horse archers, I'm able to take this sort of particular duel into my favour. However, there are a bunch of Romans as well, and I don't really think Biscuits actually had any missile units at all, so I am outnumbered significantly here, and we're definitely disadvantaged because cataphracts, Praetorians, Urbans, silver pikemen, all much better stuff than any of the stuff that we have. But we do have the forests, and that's the only thing that brings us any opportunity or chance here. Plus, I got pretty good skirmish. I believe I'm skirmishing with some of these Romans, and the rest are skirmishing with these Seleucids. Seeing as I took the advantage in the Seleucid archer department with my horse archers earlier, I can sacrifice 2 or 3 to help Biscuits here, because I don't want Biscuits' cav getting shot at, him having no cover. So he moves up to the high ground here. I send my cavalry to help, and I'm sending my Falksmen to help. We can draw these cataphracts into the woods where they'll fight worse, and our guys, at least my infantry, will get a bonus here. It'll come in quite handy. Plus we're going to got the high ground. However, Shogunsep is going to send his cavalry this way as well, which means Biscuits is going to send some of his infantry, and I believe I sent even some of my infantry. The Thracian player, our ally, shows his inexperience here and just charges these urban cohorts, and most of his units break. It would have been kind of useful if he soaked up some peeler. I don't know if the Roman player actually threw peeler before or not. If he did, it would have been quite useful. As you can see, the missile duel was going against Polish Legion and going into my favour, quite significantly so. Pretty much the same with against the Roman too, just because I did quite a bit of damage before we even began against the Seleucid, which allowed me to work out that way. So we're just preparing things. Biscuits is going to charge from up here, and I'm going to charge from over here. I do believe I start putting some flaming arrow shots down onto the I believe I do it in a moment. I'm sending some of my chosen swordsmen as well, and I'm just going to kind of deny the fight with Polish Legion. I'm just going to keep retreating and disengaging from that, because it's not a fight I want yet. We need to destroy the cavalry. If we engage without having destroyed the cavalry, we can't win this kind of fight, because we're much more disadvantaged. So I'm going to pull back my archer warband here, and I'll leave a couple of infantry here just to kind of occupy them, but I won't stay in it. I think it's around about this point where I start using flaming arrows with some of my archers, I think, on his cataphracts just to lower their morale a bit, because cataphracts' morale is not actually as good as Praetorian cavalry. They're very powerful, of course, but if you can do morale damage to them, the morale penalties against them are much higher, so you can rout them quicker that way. If that's how you counteract cataphracts. The morale is not quite as high, so they kind of trade morale for armor basically. And if you can do morale penalties against them, you can get them routing quicker than like Praetorian cavalry, which has got much higher morale. Well, not heaps higher, but it is higher. So he decides to charge here, and Biscuits is going to counter-charge him at this stage, and here goes the fight. Biscuits actually didn't get a great charge here, but as you can see, the morale was kind of damaged there on these cataphracts, so they do rout, and because there's no upgrades on these Praetorians, it's not too bad. I bring my Kais in here, and I'm going to try and break through here on these cataphracts. Biscuits' cav are starting to rout though, you have to be pretty careful here, but I get into this flank of this general's unit and I got flaming arrows coming in, and I've got infantry coming in. We've got infantry coming in here, but Biscuits' cav does break, but I bring in my horse archers here to hold this up here so we can continually bring our infantry in and try and keep this maintained, because otherwise we're going to lose pretty bad. My horse archers will lose that, but they held it for a few, like a second or two, and while that happens, one of my noble cav is routing here, but it's allowed us to get I got to get my Felksmen in behind these Romans, and we do manage to finally break most of what's left of them, and we kill, well, I don't know if we kill him, but we do rout the Seleucid. There we go, we do kill him, the Seleucid general.
Slain by your brave warriors.
And at this stage, because he got no upgrades, even with no upgrades and us on gold and silver and stuff, we still nearly got beaten there, so that's how much better these Praetorians and cataphracts can be. But we do finally manage to rout them there, and all we don't do here is just retreat. We're just going to keep pulling back and kiting away. And here's an opportunity. We noticed that the Roman player Shogunsep had gotten quite far ahead of Polish Legion, so we saw an opportunity to turn around and destroy as much of these Romans as possible, which I think is what we're going to do here. Several of Biscuits' cav has regrouped, which is good. I'm trying to make sure my archers are not going to get snagged in a melee fight. And we get a nice downhill charge against these urban cohort. Just going to get my archers out of here and bring in our infantry at this stage, and we're going to try and surround these urban cohorts. They are not upgraded, so our guys should hold on for a while, but they are urban cohorts, they're a lot better. And he brings in his swordsman at this stage, and Biscuits is going to charge through here. However, I don't think he's in wedge, which doesn't exactly help. But it's a pretty narrow spot, and it should start turning things into our favour a bit here. And I'm trying to preserve my archer units so that I can use them against the flanks of the Polish Legion, because fighting phalanxes will be very difficult for these barbarian troops. However, these guys are broken through over here, and now I'm trying to surround these guys. He does phalanx charge here, however he doesn't get his pikes down very quickly. And I've still got my archers here. Biscuits has got me covered though from this cataphract. And I've got fanatics in behind these guys, and there's quite a bit of surround going on here, but he's trying to surround me. But if he does that, I'll just get the flanks of his guys with my archers here, which is what I'm trying to do. As you can see, we finally rout these guys here, and we kill the Roman general, and that actually causes a chain rout, which is not common actually amongst Romans, at least not in the CWB, but it does happen. However, now we've got to fight these phalanxes, but Polish Legion has not got them in phalanx formation, and these silver shield pikemen will not last very long out of phalanx against barbarian sword infantry. But he does eventually get them into phalanx, at which point we decide it's probably best to start either moving around the flank or disengaging a bit. As you can see there, the morale is quite bad at this stage, and the Seleucid pikes do start to rout pretty much en masse at this point. So silver shield pikemen don't have great morale. It's not bad, but if a couple of them rout, it can cause a chain rout pretty quickly among them. At this point we just cause a big chain rout amongst them as well, and that's it. And archers were firing to their flank pretty much as they could, and that's pretty much them destroyed. So it was a pretty rewarding battle, to be honest, because we had significant disadvantages with our factions here, because Seleucids and Rome is way better than Gaul and Dacia. So it's always rewarding when you have the underdog factions defeat the power factions, basically, like the Romans and Seleucids and stuff. So when you're using the barbarians, it's very important that you stick to the woods, because that's about the only place where you're going to have any edge against them. So there's the statistics. Big kills for Biscuits, 1,735, but I've got a fair amount as well with 1,382. Shogunsep had 1,258 and Polish Legion had 839, but the our ally and the Numidian player got knocked out pretty quickly there. So I still have a pretty good number of my troops remaining, actually, at least three-thirds of them. And then I got high kills for my archers, obviously, the majority of the kills. My noble cav did pretty good too, actually, and the fanatics even got their count. Everything actually worked out pretty well here. Once we destroyed that cavalry, we were alright. If we had not been able to achieve that, that would have been a loss for sure. But me and Biscuits had some good teamwork going there. We did a Steam channel on that, gave us a bit of an edge, so it worked out quite nicely. So anyway guys, hope you enjoyed. I will link Biscuits' channel in the description. Be sure to go check it. Some awesome work there. Great channel, great commentary. So anyway guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you soon next time.